Krista Smith, the West Coast editor of Vanity Fair, joins us to talk about Angelina Jolie and the upcoming cover. But first, Chris Brockman with breaking news.
Yeah, big matchup. Houston 4-5 at the 6-3 Browns. Texans getting a bunch of defensive players back. Jadeveon Clowney, Brian Cushing, but will be reportedly without running back Arian Foster. He's got a groin injury that's been nagging him recently, and he won't play. On the Browns side, Phil Taylor, their big defensive tackle, he's been placed on season-ending injured reserve.
Yeah, the anti-awesome catching up with him again. But for fantasy owners out there, take a look at Alfred Blue, the backup. Probably your option.
Another pet peeve, by the way, we'll mention this because we are taking phone calls on the Rich Eisen Show, 844-204-RICH. Another pet peeve, calling it a groin. It's a groin injury, right? But when they say, you know, he's out with the groin. I have a groin and I'm still here. Krista Smith, with that, welcome. Thank you for coming into the Rich Eisen Show. And the reason why I wanted to have you in is, and I mentioned this when we were in the break, not only do you have the greatest job because you are the West Coast editor of Vanity Fair, you hold the keys to the fanciest party in Los Angeles, which is the Vanity Fair Oscars party, but next to you, for all of you listening on the radio, is a giant picture of Angelina Jolie on the cover of Vanity Fair. By the way, nothing makes you feel better as a 42-year-old mom of 3 than to sit next to a giant photo of Angelina Jolie.
Well, Susie, I was going to say, as good as you look and as good as they made me look, it is very intimidating to sit next to that. And especially Angelina, I think this cover is gorgeous. It's just very clean and powerful and strong. And, you know, she's a mother of 6, and look at her.
She nice?
Lovely, yes.
Okay. I think that's all basically our fans want to know is she nice? And then they want to know, is Brad really a Saints fan?
You know, I can't answer that, but I would say that would be their football team. If I had to, under oath, I would say the Saints, definitely.
Now, you are surrounded by the biggest celebrities in the world. The only man I've ever seen make you nervous is John Elway. You, of course, being a Denver Broncos fan. You were at the game a couple weeks ago, and you've had some interaction with him over the last couple years. What is that like for you, again, when you're so used to Tom Hanks or Tom Cruise sending you flowers, and you see John Elway, and that's your guy?
Well, I have to say John Elway is the biggest star in the world, isn't he? I mean, am I missing something?
Last time you checked?
Last time I checked, he was the biggest star. I love John Elway. I grew up in Denver. He was all we had. He was everything in our world. Even though all those Super Bowls we went to and lost by large margins, you know, he came through in the end for us. And it was amazing. Actually, one of the things I'm most proud of in my career at Vanity Fair was being able to get John Elway, Michael Jordan, and Wayne Gretzky together on the same day to be photographed because they all retired the same year.
We have a picture of that as well.
And that is one of the things. For me, it took like, I think 1,000 phone calls. And it was at the Mario Lemieux golf tournament somewhere in Pittsburgh. Sorry, all you Pittsburgh people, I can't even remember where it was, but yeah.
That's all right, you don't have to. And yet in the history of Vanity Fair, the one guy that's graced your cover who's an athlete is MJ, Michael Jordan. So what was the, we have that on the screen behind us for all of you listening on the Rich Eisen Radio Network.
Oh,
but
Michael Jordan.
Why Michael Jordan? I mean, I feel like that's a silly question, and yet I'd love to hear you answer why.
Well, I think sports has changed a lot in the last decade and continuing on into this decade. Michael Jordan at that time, or at 1998, he hit every angle of celebrity. He was as famous as Elizabeth Taylor, you know, Princess Diana, Madonna, everyone knew who Michael Jordan is. So for our audiences and Vanity Fair, I mean, he really crossed every platform.
Krista Smith, the West Coast editor of Vanity Fair, joining us on the Rich Eisen Show. Do you think that Tom Brady, with everything that he's about, the Giselle of it all, the gorgeousness of it all, oh, by the way, the fact that he wins this resurgence right now we're experiencing in New England, is that big enough?
No. No. However, though, I did enjoy sitting next to Tom Brady. I did invite him to our Oscar party when he won the Super Bowl, and I was so excited that I got to sit next to him, and I talked to him for about 5 hours. It was the thrill of a lifetime, but he didn't wear a Super Bowl ring, and it made me a little crazy. Like, if you're not going to wear, if it's a black tie, like, when else are you going to wear the Super Bowl ring?
I don't
can't
think
wear
Giselle said he could. How's that?
Yeah,
Do you think?
Those
can't
things are
just wear-
huge. They're huge.
You
They
can't
take
just
up,
wear
like,
a Super Bowl ring
your
out.
whole hand. You can't
That's
just
what
wear
he
those
said,
out.
but it's a
Yeah.
black tie event. Do you understand? Women wear millions of dollars worth of Harry Winston and Tiffany jewelry, and
I mean,
he has a Super
did you
Bowl
want him
ring.
to wear it on his pinky like he was a
Like
mob
Joe
boss or
Pesci.
something?
He would
Like
get
Joe
killed.
Pesci.
Yeah.
He would get killed in sports circles for doing that. Like
Yeah.
in entertainment, it's all about the glam and the bling. And in sports circles, that's in a safe somewhere in his home.
But it was kind of amazing to your point because he was there, and at first, the Oscar dinner, everyone sits and we watch the actual telecast that you're watching in your living room, and then it turns into a huge party afterwards. And Tom Brady, as you know, 6'5", in Hollywood, it's a lot of people that are 5'9", okay, that actor height. So he definitely stands out. And it was really funny to watch everyone walk in the room because you could tell people were doing a double take. Is that Ben Affleck?
Right,
No,
right.
that's not Ben Affleck. Oh my God, it's Tom Brady. So there was that moment of that surge in, in celebrity that crashing of celebrity meeting sports.
And so how is it just when all of the most famous actors of the world are in the one room, when an athlete like that walks in, what do you see in front of you?
Well, I'm super excited, and generally, if an athlete walks in, I've had something to do with it.
But how do those guys react to that athlete in the room?
Well, actors they love it. Are you kidding? They love it. It's huge because they're so sick of each other. They see each other all the time. And when did they get to see Tom Brady? Or can I say the name? Not yet. Can I say the name?
No.
Look who it is!
Can I
It's
say
Tim
the name?
No,
Tebow.
absolutely not. It's the unmentionable.
Yeah,
Now,
A lot of shots of Tim.
there we
Kate
go.
Upton with Tim Tebow. Look at that. So Tim Tebow showed up at the Vanity Fair party in all black. He did the black shirt.
went
He
all
did the
black?
George Clooney.
Yeah. Now, he didn't obviously wear a Super Bowl ring because he didn't have one. But last time I checked, doesn't Tim Tebow have the same number of championship games that someone like a Tony Romo has? Right?
Wow.
I mean, you
Shots
football people,
fired.
He
right?
also has, I think he has more playoff wins than like Y.A. Tittle. He has like there's some big names that he has more
he's got
playoff
one.
wins than.
Right.
I have a question. When you're mentioned, it's the West Coast editor of Vanity
Yes.
Fair. Is there an East? There obviously is then an East Coast. And
Not really.
What is
Nobody
that?
cares.
Midwest,
That's a great question.
South.
Yes, the East Coast is where the home office is. That's the hub.
So
That's the hub.
is the East Coast editor announced as the East Coast editor of Vanity Fair?
No, just out here it's a satellite office, I guess.
I think
Got
it's
it,
like
got it.
East Coast, West Coast rap.
Look,
It
this
just
isn't my
sounds
world.
better.
We're trying to understand.
I want to go back
here.
to TT15. That's how I'm going to refer to him as. Why is he there? Are you calling up TT15 and inviting him?
Absolutely. Not only am I calling up Tim Tebow, I have a bracelet that I have beeping when I know that he's in the car
you
line
serious?
to come in so I can go and make sure to greet Tim Tebow. And let me just tell you, TT15.
Were people geeking over TT15?
Beyond. It was amazing.
Really?
But I have to tell you, the one funny thing about Tim, I was so excited. I actually talked to him, and someone captured that moment there on film forever. Was when I asked him, I said, oh my God, do you want to meet David Beckham? Do you want to meet, the room was full of other people. And he was like, sure, but I'd like to meet some girls, which I thought was
Oh,
really funny.
fantastic.
So he did meet, ran a whole slideshow of him, and every single person there was like lining up to take a picture with him.
And as a Broncos fan now, how do you feel about him?
I still have the same love for him, but have to say I'm very happy with the state of the Broncos right now and having Peyton Manning in that position.
And you were there. You got to watch him. You got to sit there with your kid. You got to have Ford with you.
Yes.
And your family, your sister, right, and brother.
And my brother flew in for it. Thank you to Rich Eisen, by the way. Yes, my brother flew in for it. It was a huge moment for us. We were on the field. We were all vipped up and tagged up. It was a great moment while it lasted. And I was wondering, there we are, and we were row 4, which is incredible.
Good seats.
Great seats. And I brought my 6-year-old, and I wasn't sure how he was going to do. And he met his people.
Right.
To say that he turned into a hooligan within seconds was an
Fantastic.
understatement. He was having the time of his life.
We have a caller calling in for pet peeves. Caller, I love the fact that I can take calls on this
Yeah.
show.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
How are you? Thank you for calling us on the Rich Eisen Show. Say hi to Krista Smith.
Good to talk to you. My biggest pet peeve is the collective we that sports fans use. I hate when
Right?
someone refers to their team as we. I love the Dallas Cowboys. I've never played it down for them. I'm not a we, and it's just that bugs me like crazy.
Yeah, because, by the way, do you play for them? Do you dress up? You know what used to drive me crazy, and thank you so much for that call. That was really great of you to call in. The phone lines, we have one phone line open. They're going crazy on pet peeves, so please keep calling in. That is 844-204-RICH. When I worked at the Southern California Sports Report, my first on-air job at Fox Sports, the first iteration, they wanted to call them our teams, our town, our attitude. You know, that awful voice people use when they're on TV. I refused. I'm like, I don't play at USC. I'm not the Lakers. Like, it was irritating, so I couldn't do it. What's your pet peeve in sports?
Pet peeve in sports. Oh my God. Geez, what would be my pet peeve?
Kara had a few good ones, right?
Grown
We
men
can
wearing
assist you
jerseys?
here.
Well, I was just going to say the grown men wearing jerseys.
Torn.
I'm torn on that because let me tell you, I wore my John Elway jersey and I wore the original owner John Elway jersey to the game.
That's cool.
Okay, on Thursday, and I ran into a lot of people that know me in a different life in my John Elway jersey. So part of me feels like it's, I give a hall pass to that.
You do.
I don't have a problem with
really
people
do.
saying we if they're referring to their college. Like, I say we for Syracuse.
Right.
I paid money to go there, so I feel...
But you are an Orangeman, that's
right,
fair.
and I cover the team, and I feel like a part of the university. I'm sure,
Right.
Law, you feel
Yeah.
the same way about Penn State.
That's a good point. I agree that way. I think you get a little Freudian slip every now and again when I refer to the Eagles. Yeah, we're going to win this weekend.
Right.
And I agree, though. It's a good point that the caller made.
We're going to have more with Krista Smith, the West Coast editor of Vanity Fair.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.